So the second choice of essay was how important is Book 11 to the plot and themes of the Odyssey? And again, we want to avoid narrating what happens in Book 11 and instead start to identify particular themes or issues that we can talk about. And many of these will be relevant to other how important questions, particularly about themes in the epic as well. So the first one is actually referred to in the question, the importance to the plot. We've got to cover that because the question asks us to. And whilst we might be inclined to particularly enjoy Book 11, especially because of the entertainment factor, in terms of its importance to the plot, it's rather limited when we first look at it. There will be some importance later on. But first of all, Tiresias, we're told that Odysseus needs to go down to the underworld to consult Tiresias about how to get home. And whilst Tiresias does warn him about Hyperion's cattle, Circe will repeat this, and in fact Circe will give him even more information about his journey home, namely the sirens and Scylla and Charybdis. So that doesn't really stack up, and of course we know her real reason is to enhance his reputation and his kleos. On top of that, there are certain sections that may or may not have been originally included, but certainly don't have any relevance to Odysseus and his story. So, for example, you're seeing a snippet here from what we refer to as the Catalogue of Women, where we get a list of 14 women who have in common the fact that they died for love. And many of them are very famous characters from Greek mythology that you would recognise. And whilst it's interesting to be reminded of their stories, none of them have any real relevance to Odysseus or the reasons why he's down in the underworld. There's some importance to the plot in terms of Agamemnon's conversation. However, the fact that he warns him women are no longer to be trusted means that Odysseus tests people when he gets back on Ithaca and goes about his return in an altogether different way to Agamemnon did. However, we have to remember that Athene will also come and intervene in Book 13 when he arrives on the beach at Ithaca. So he's not going to be able to run off to the palace anyway, keen to see Penelope, because she's going to be there to stop him, to slow him down, to send him to Eumaeus' hut, and to provide him with all the information he needs. So overall, limited importance to the plot. However, what it does do is enhance Odysseus' characterisation in a number of ways. First of all, the fact that he's down there is already incredibly impressive because there is a small group of elite heroes from Greek and Roman mythology that have managed to go down to Hades alive and return. And this is the reason why Homer has Heracles' wraith turn up at the end of Book 11, almost as a nod of acknowledgement that, welcome to the club, Odysseus, you've made it too. So Odysseus' kleos is enhanced by this visit down to Book 11, to the underworld in Book 11. But we also see a much more human and relatable side to him when he meets his mother, Anticlea. Of course, he doesn't know that she's died, so there's that moment of shock. But we see the desperation to clasp her. We're told, he tries 3 times. We also get very emotive similes that describe it like a shadow or a dream, showing that kind of fleeting nature of that encounter with his mother. And he almost reverts childlike in the sense that they refer to each other as kind of mother, and she keeps talking about him as my son. So that's a really interesting moment for us, this insight into Odysseus and his family, which we haven't seen before. Book 11 certainly explores many of the key themes, however, of the epic, and in fact challenges some of them too. So, for example, the conversation with Achilles. Achilles, our archetypal Homeric hero. We've known that a glorious death on the battlefield is something that is incredibly appealing to Greek heroes, and the kleos lives on forevermore. But Achilles challenges that when he says that he would rather be alive and be a serf that worked the land than be a king amongst all the dead. So here we have a theme being challenged, and I think that gives you quite a lot to talk about in an essay question. And similarly, we see this establishment of this theme of loyalty with the conversation with Agamemnon and the parallel being set up between Clytemnestra and Penelope. And it links to a much greater theme of women not being trusted in the epic. When you start to think about it, we look at women like Calypso and Circe. We can even see the fact that many of the monsters are female too. And of course, we can't deny that Book 11 has the entertainment factor. To the original audience as well, we have to remember this is their afterlife they're getting a look into here. It's not simply just narrative and enjoyment. This is an idea of what to expect after death. But certainly, I think ancient and modern audiences alike would have enjoyed that trip down to Tartarus. And here we find out about the different characters who have been found guilty of hubris and are being punished in an eternal way. So we've got, of course, famously Tantalus, Sisyphus and Tityus, who are down there and alluded to in my pictures here. So just to conclude with questions like how important, these are issues that you can ask time and time again. Importance to plot, importance to the characterization of Odysseus, the importance to key themes, and of course that entertainment factor as well.